Welcome to the Point of View, which is a new series of videos that me and Lloyd will be doing over various topics, such as the one today, which is MMORPGs versus console-based RPGs. And why don't you say hi?
Hi, faggots.
Yeah, that's the infamous Lloyd, who needs to really wipe his computer, but I brought him on today because this is kind of his area since he mostly plays RPG, so I'm just going to let him have at it.
Well, Final Fantasy screen's about over, but this is what really started RPGs in my honest opinion. I mean, damn. Oh, look at this. I'm going to talk about the first Final Fantasy over this, okay? I mean, paying, I think it's $15 for emails and everything else.
Yep.
No, I'm not gonna do that. And from what I hear, there's a lot of grinding and a lot of killing bunnies.
And I also hear that the difficulty level is very high in this one, just because it's online.
Well, Final Fantasy got its name because Squaresoft was at the end of its rope, and they needed a game to save them. And in case Final Fantasy was their last game, thus the name. Oh, Final Fantasy VII. Everyone's possible favorite. It's not my favorite. My favorite was the original, but this was the first Final Fantasy to probably have the most in-depth storyline. My lisp. Oh well, but it's 3 discs long, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I really can't say much about that without having to turn into a fanboy.
World of Warcraft. It's one of my friend's favorite games, Bradley Kazuma, some of you people know. Don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going to talk anyway. But, yeah, why don't you tell your story?
Oh yeah, very quickly. Fuck Star Wars. The games, I mean, not that. Oh yeah, World of Warcraft. Last time I played, I got to level 17. I was a Blood Elf Paladin, and I forgot, I don't know what fucking town I was at, but as soon as I fucking arrived, some jackass rode in on his saber cat, killed everybody in town, then chased me down for 5 minutes, and then when he finally caught up to me, he waved, then ran away. I've never played again.
And last time I played was 2 years ago, spring break. Yeah.
Secret of Mana. This is an old classic. If you've ever played this before, you will know why a lot of people love to play it. And if you have it, I suggest you bring it out. If not, download the ROM.
Oh look, Squaresoft.
Yep, Squaresoft. I think at first it was originally called Square. They actually released a racing game back in the. I think it was on Super Nintendo. I'm not sure. It might have been the NES because they tried their hand at everything except RPGs up until Final Fantasy. But if you haven't played Secret of Mana, download the ROM and have at it. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Sorry. This is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent playing this and how many hours I've spent on that one puzzle near the beginning. Not very beginning, but close enough. It was before I knew I could hold R to turn to the left or right or up or down without having to move. If I had known that, I probably would have saved like 3 months of my life. Yes, I know, he's giving me an awkward look now. But yeah, play this one as well. It's full of action and lots of puzzles. Lots and lots of puzzles. If you love puzzles or Golden Sun, I suggest you pick this one up. And we're about to pick up on...
What the fuck is this? How the hell did this get in here?
I have no fucking clue.
What the fuck? Get this shit out of here. God damn.
Well, yeah, there you go. That was Free Realms, by the way. And this is Maple Story. I tried this once and I just couldn't really get into it. I mean, it's...
Can you spend like a whole day downloading this?
Yeah, I did. That was back before. That was back when I still had like 358 download speed too. If I had the other ones, and well, yeah.
Guild Wars, which in my opinion is a lot better than World of Warcraft, but it's a great game. Though after getting to like level 13, would you stop that?
Sorry.
I just kind of quit because all of my friends that played it quit as well, and just moved on, such as other stuff really. And back to Lloyd with this Chrono Trigger.
Oh, another classic RPG. I believe this was released back in '95. I do believe it could have been '94, but I know this game's roughly 15 years old, and it was released on the DS about, I think, was it 1 year ago or 2 years ago?
A year ago.
1 year ago, and I got it shortly after my birthday, and I loved it. As far as the classic gameplay goes, as far as what they added, I could have been, I don't know. Okay, first time playing through Mount Emerald, it was fine. But once you played through it, maybe for the second or third time, you realize how monotonous that fuck place is. I mean, really. Up and fucking down, up and fucking down. And they make you go up and down so many times. But this game is a true classic. I rented this game so much from a video store that when the video store finally went out of business, they offered to sell it to me.
Now I'm going to butt in and ask you, what battle system, fucking Christ, battle system do you prefer, the MMOs or the turn-based of old RPGs?
I prefer turn-based.
As do I.
But okay, the thing is, Chrono Trigger was turn-based, but it experimented with active time because you could change the, settings to active, and while you're selecting items, your enemies can still attack you. It's semi-active as well as turn-based.
I remember coming over, like when you first got your first laptop, that's all you played was Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that was back when I first started learning about emulators and whatnot. Playing on the keyboard was kind of meh, but I got over it.
Oh look, Final Fantasy 3.
Yeah, the good one, not the piece of shit on the DS.
Oh, Final Fantasy 6, I mean.
Well, yeah, technically. I just decided to bring this up because this is probably the very first they've ever seen of Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 6 is a great fucking game. If you haven't played it, I recommend it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The basic premise of everyone able to learn magic through an Esper system is truly great. You don't have to rely on one person for healing or offensive magic.
And the characters are great as well.
Yeah. Although they could have made Shadow a bit easier to get. He's kind of tricky. You will miss him on your first time unless you look at a guide.
And I have to say, Locke was one funny bastard.
Another thing I want to say about MMOs versus console RPGs is the amount of grinding you have to do on MMOs as compared to console RPGs.
That's true, it really is. On World of Warcraft, I was grinding from level 14 to 15, and it took me 4 fucking ever. I don't even think I reached 15. I just said fucking got off.
Well, when I played on a private server, a hack, and it had double experience. I got to level 17 in 30 minutes, but that's beside the point. I'm still scared to death to play that game. I was going to include Final Fantasy 8, but...
What the fuck? Modern Warfare 2 is an MMO.
Get the fuck out of here! Alright, Final Fantasy 9. This is going to be on the PlayStation Network soon, and if you have an Xbox 360 and a 360 only, ha ha ha, fuck you! Sorry.
I have both.
Yeah? Yeah, well, I'd have both too if I was a Jew.
You used to have a 360.
Red Ring, well, actually, I ripped disk drive out of it, then it got the Red Ring after that. Failed resurrection efforts, but...
Like Final Fantasy 9, I was reading, doesn't have that high of sales. Probably because it came out when the PS2 came out and all that shit.
Well, it has the greatest graphics of any PlayStation Final Fantasy game up to that point. And I didn't put Final Fantasy X here for a good reason, okay? I didn't care for the story.
Or Sphere Grid.
Or the Sphere Grid. Although, what? Well, this is supposed to be RuneScape. I realize there's better versions, but really, high definition dog shit is high definition dog shit. You get what you see. There you go. If you really want to try to play this, I feel sorry for you.
There's other great stuff out there besides RuneScape. Guild Wars is a good example.
Yeah. Another thing about MMOs versus console RPGs is the many different accounts you got to play. You have to have for MMOs to play them and have to pay and all that. Oh look, Secret of Evermore. This is a game I've never beat, and this is probably one of the hardest RPGs. It's not turn-based. It's pretty active. But there's a secret to spamming alchemy if you can figure it out, and well, too bad YouTube's time limit doesn't allow me to go on about the other great ones. And here's this piece of shit. I may or may not force Shire over here to put a link to it, but if you've ever played Legacy of Goku for the Game Boy Advance or Legacy of Goku 2 and Boost Fury, this is pretty much it. But sadly, this game is now broken, as in the sense there's no point in playing it if you're not a subscriber.
If it's Bond, yeah, it's nothing great from Bond.
Fallacy just sits on his ass, makes his money from this game because he's actually passed up a lot of high-paying teaching jobs, but just because he's afraid to talk to people and afraid to get laid, he sits at home getting like $50 a pop per sub, pretty much, and well, yeah.
Yeah, that's all the time. We'll be back next week with some other subject I'll think of during the week. But this has been Shire and Lloyd, and peace out. Give us your feedback.